Everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of the Dungeon Crawl. As you can tell, things look different, things sound different, and he's here.
And I'm Yeah, he is here.
Yes.
I am here.
Yeah, I'm doing like some Lord of the Rings stuff, where he's actually not. I'm not pointing at him, but on the recording, it does look like I'm pointing at him. Have
you seen the stuff on the
Lord of the Rings?
Baggins behind these scenes in the house
and Gandalf and stuff?
Yeah, so cool. So good. For sure, any theater student, anybody that was in film,
that's why I said that. That was it. That's why I referenced it.
Yeah. Also, he is me. I'm Kenneth.
Oh, yes, for audio listeners.
Come on, man.
But also for audio listeners, the reason everything is different is because we are no longer in my apartment. We have relocated.
Yes.
We're in Braxton's apartment.
We're using different mics.
Literally like 5 minutes away.
Wow,
5 minutes?
If they know where you... 5 minutes.
By walk.
Yeah. My cats are out there meowing.
They've been quiet this whole time, and now that we're actually starting...
Yeah. But we have some shotgun mics here. We got some tables, and we're gonna be back in person for the Chronicles. It's gonna be exciting.
This is also the Crawl. So
this is the Crawl. Chronicles, if y'all know, is our live play, actual play podcast that we stream live on twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawl Network. Probably gonna be doing it on YouTube as well soon too. Or you can find it on podcasts or on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, he's Ryan.
He's Braxton.
I'm Kenneth. Fuck me, I guess, man. I'm Kenneth.
We're just real quick. We're gonna party. We're just gonna say hello.
Oh no, it's not gonna end well.
God.
Where there's one, there's more.
Hi, Sumi. Yeah. He just brought in a cat, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. I just made that.
No longer JD. We will now be seeing these cats or hearing these cats.
Well, not for now, because there is a very hot LED light on the ground, and they love staring their face into the abyss.
Gotta burn those retinas so they can't see you, Braxton.
That's what it's all about. But we are here, and you are probably here because you saw the title that says the Wild Beyond the Witchlight review deep dive. Is it worth a buy? Do you want to pick it up? We're gonna answer all those questions and more.
You know how we always start this? There's like a formula to that was my waistband. Don't worry. There's a formula to how when we find out these have been released or they're announced, we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna have an episode on this.
Yeah.
And then it comes out and there's like 2 or 3 things that are guaranteed to happen. I always ask Ryan just like 1 or 2 words like, how do you feel about it? Because I'm not patient. I have to know what he feels.
And I don't answer.
He answers a little bit. He gave me some this time. And then Kenneth texts me like 80 billion times wanting to talk on the phone and always tries to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Which I end up giving in because I like talking to Kenneth about this sort of stuff. So always happens. I'm a little short.
So you guys usually know a little bit more about each other's thoughts.
Not really. I held it back a lot.
This time, yeah. Some of the last ones we've talked like, well, what was it? Which one was it that we really talked about?
Frostbane or Candlekeep?
Frostbane.
One of them.
Oh, probably Candlekeep.
But this one, I held back just because I haven't read all of it. So, spoilers. I've only read the first 2 chapters.
That's okay.
So we're going to get insight for that and then insight from these guys about the rest.
So we've had really busy weeks. So
yeah, working 12 hours a day. It's making money though. So that's good.
Getting that bank.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to hear.
Yeah, so what we usually start off if you're new to the Dungeon Crawl, which there are a lot of you. Thank you for dropping by. If you're here for Pathfinder content, I apologize. But for our new watchers, what we usually do for new content is we'll first do the no spoiler section. So if you're a player and you're thinking about playing in someone's game, it's going to be this module, should you? And then we'll go into some spoilers about DMs. If DMs want to buy this and pick it up for their, because usually players don't buy these, unless they're splitting it with their
group. It really says so in this book. This is the first time they're like, this book is not for the players.
Yes.
Which I'm proud of them for.
So we'll start with the no spoiler stuff and maybe just a general overview if we think it's worth checking out. And then we'll dive into our unadulterated, unfiltered thoughts.
Yeah, we're not going to tease you and give our thoughts on it at the end. We'll just say, is it worth a buy? Yes, no, maybe. If you got the money.
We'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Who wants to start? And you are completely okay to say your opinion. You've read, like, the first few chapters are pretty thematic.
Tell us about your first 2 chapters.
Yeah.
So are we going if I like it or if we should buy it or?
I'd say start with, give me both options. Yeah. 1, if you would play it as a player, if you think it's worth playing it as a player, and then 2, if you think if you would pick it up as a DM.
If you are players in a game that your DM likes running just modules and not like doing homebrew, I think this is a worthwhile experience to play in, just because it's such a different experience than what all the other modules are.
It's very unique, that's for sure.
if you don't like combat a lot, that might hinder you, but that's not to say that you can't make your own combat, right? That you can't start combat. It just might be a little bit more difficult, or you might get dicked on sometimes. But I think it's definitely worth a play in, and as well, you get to play as different races. You can a Haragon, which is rabbit folk, and fairies, which you could also, it recommends that you could play as them, and also backgrounds which are Phalos and Witchlight Hand, which is like a carny. You're a carny.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it's like a worth like, hey, pester your DM so you could run this, because there's nothing like it in the modules from the other like 12 adventures for 5e. So I think it's worth not a buy, but worth a play from the players. Yeah.
Not to cut you off, Brax. I could see you had a thought on the tip of your brain.
I actually didn't want to go yet, so thank you.
Well, I just want to say real fast, we should probably say what is this module. Very fast, it's a levels 1 through 8 adventure module that takes place on a circus in the material plane called the Witchlight Festival, and then it slowly dips into the Feywild, the domain of Prismeer, and hijinks prevail thereon.
That was not hijinks.
It's a lot like Curse of Strahd, in that Curse of Strahd, you're in the Shadowfell, but you're in like a pocket dimension of the Shadowfell.
Not to mention there's also an item you're looking for that is placed randomly.
Yes. This is also much of the same, that you're in a pocket dimension of the Feywild.
Yeah.
Which is basically like Curse of Strahd. So
also written by Christopher Perkins. So
I think it's good. I mean, that's not too spoiler. No, you know you're going into Feywild with this.
It's pretty well advertised about Feywild stuff.
There's some interesting connections to
both sides. And you, Braxton.
I had a roller coaster of feelings about this. And by roller coaster, I mean like one of those Tony Hawk ones that kind of goes up and down, and it's like, no. I wasn't strongly geared either way, but I did feel for you DMs, especially newer ones, that if this was the first thing you ran, you're going to get a ton of advice in this that is, well, the cat's wanting to, should I just let them in? They're going to...
It's up to you. There's a lot of stuff in there.
No, that's the only thing I'm worried about. They haven't messed with anything else.
Oh, man.
So for DMs, I think if this is going to be your first book, absolutely buy this, because some of the stuff in the intro and the way it's structured, especially in the end, like it gives you role-playing cards, and you're like, okay, what are those for? It's literally like pocket size, how to role-play as these NPCs. It'll help you learn how to structure adventures that you want in the future, and it's going to give you amazing advice that doesn't beat around the bush or cut things out and say, hey, go look in this one book, except for one time, and it references the player's handbook. Does another time, but it's not really DM advice. But for those of you that are more experienced, you can miss this. It's I'd say it's geared towards mostly new people. As a player, I would love to go into it if my DM altered it for combat a bit more. Otherwise, it's purely just collaborative storytelling.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I do really agree that this is a great first module for a DM.
Baby's first module.
It gives you so much support. Like in Frostmaiden, we were talking about, go watch that review. We were talking about how the DM would have to change a lot of just like the first encounters so the players don't die. There's none of that in this, except for one thing. And this, it's just it's so DM friendly. Like as I was reading it, I wasn't seeing like, oh, I need to change that, or oh, I need to fix that. I didn't see any of this, at least in the first 2 chapters. So that's a pretty good sign. Most of the time, a lot of the stuff they need to change in these modules is stuff at the beginning, so like your players won't die.
Yeah,
true.
So I really like it. I think it's very good for a DM's like a first DM module, but also I think it's good for experienced DMs, because it's just a different style of DMing that some DMs might not really be used to.
Yeah.
I think it's an important thing to say right off the bat. This is definitely not a module for everybody.
No, definitely.
So I might have varying opinions to Braxton, my varying opinions to Ken.
It's gonna happen.
It's because this is I would say more than probably any other D&D module, as Ken said, it's very unique. Is going to have those varying opinions from group to group, probably.
Yeah.
It's something that you'd want to talk to your group ahead of time to your DM, say this is fairly combat-like. Granted, there can be combat, of course, but it is definitely, compared to Curse of Strahd, very light on combat. But that being said, I think this could be a lot of fun to play in.
Oh my god.
And I agree and disagree with the sentiment that it's geared to new DMs, because I think it is.
I
It's
think new
definitely
DMs, experienced players.
well, it even says on there, this is fairly much. It does more than any other book laying out how to play the game.
Yes.
But I think this would be a bitch and a half to run.
Oh my!
This seems very hard.
There's a lot of resources to help
lot
you,
to
but
juggle.
there's a lot of like resources in the book to help you with this next part, but there is a lot to like keep track of in your brain and writing notes. But if you can do that, I think it'd be very rewarding.
I think because the nature, and this is, I've run games that are open world, of course, but I've never run modules specifically that are straight open world. And this seems very difficult to, because with like Curse of Strahd, it's open world I guess. But like Storm King's Thunder, Tomb of Annihilation to an extent.
Go where you want.
Yeah, but those all have a fairly specific end goal. Without spoiling anything, there could, in theory, be no push for the characters. There's a lot of areas where they might not know what to do.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think the DM, a new novice DM, might struggle with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the book does help
that.
with that by literally railroading them in a few sections.
Yes.
But that could take away the player agency. It could feel like an annoyance. So there's definitely some things to think about when you go into this book.
Yeah.
And see, I think this is less open world than like Tomb of Annihilation and Curse of Strahd.
True.
Because this is linear-esque.
Yes.
Like it is open world, but the book wants you to go in a certain order.
100%, yeah.
Which can help, but like to the players, that doesn't help them because they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
this is mainly for, and Kenneth, this is good that you've read those. I think the first two chapters are the most where the player would not know
Yes,
exactly what to do.
exactly.
Especially the first one. It's just like, we're having fun. I don't really know what we're doing here.
And a thing for the players, though, that I would love to play in this, because since it is combat light, that gives you the freedom to make wacky or crazy builds that you don't have to feel bad that like your combat effectiveness is
Very much
lessened.
fits the Feywild.
Yes.
aspect.
I don't know about builds per se, but using the non-combat spells, yes,
A lot of
because you're gonna get all of the combat spells on your character, non-combat spells on your character.
Oh yeah, well, which is fine.
It's
That's
really a build.
because a lot of people don't take those non-combat spells; they just take the combat spells.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like maybe if you're in a regular campaign that has a lot of combat, you wouldn't really necessarily play a rogue investigator.
More variety for sure.
Or, there's a lot of other builds that you might have wanted to try out.
Yeah, it allows for that.
This just allows for a lot more open builds without kind of gimping your character.
True. So, we could waffle and
Yes.
beat around the bush forever.
Yeah.
So now I would say is if you are a player and you're thinking about maybe wanting to be in this, you're not a GM, not a DM at all, now would probably be the time to check out.
Get out of here, just like I'm about to do.
Get out.
But one last thing before you leave, one little tidbit: if you have D&D Beyond, just buy the 2 races. Buy the Hair of God races.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
so
my God.
good.
Good point.
It's very good.
Yes, they did change
Fixed
them.
it.
Yeah, they fixed the rabbit folk race from
Yes.
the UA. It's so good now, especially fairies as well. I mean, they're fine. But definitely just buy those 2 if you're interested in that. You don't have to buy the whole book.
Good point, Kenneth. That's a very good point.
Hairgun race is like
Super fun.
the top of races before they get to power creep.
But here's the thing. WotC, make mouse folk. Damn it. Come on. You already opened the door for rabbit folk. They're my favorite like folk type, like bird folk, rabbit folk, mouse
I
folk.
don't
They're
know
my
if you
favorite.
heard,
They're
Kenneth.
tiny though.
Yes, they'd be tiny.
I don't know if you heard, Kenneth.
small.
They almost didn't make the rabbit folk.
Yes, I did hear that.
Chris Perkins was like, I don't want to make these. And then someone was like, that's so cute, though. I want to play that.
Like
They're
they're not
"All right,
cute.
fine."
Okay, let's do it.
Because that is fair to the DM. Like, I don't want all these like animorph, like furry lizard folk stuff in my game, which you can definitely just like say I don't want animalistic races, which is totally fine. But players, get the fuck out of here. Go hit the old Dusty while
Yeah, but make sure
DMs.
first, if you have a little extra scratch after you purchase those races on D&D Beyond, head over to Patreon, link down below, and hit our subscribe button if you're feeling like you want to support the podcast.
Do it. You guys ready? This is pretty much my favorite chapter.
And now we're diving into
The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
stuff.
So do we want to talk about if DM should buy this before we talk about start going into it?
I mean, we already
for
kinda said so.
DMs. DMs, buy this book. It's so good.
Yeah.
In my opinion, this might be a little radical. My favorite module is Curse of Strahd. I think this is up there with Curse of Strahd.
Whoa.
I think this is like either at tied with it or like a close second. Because I really like the direction that if WotC is taking direction, not combatless or combat light, but just giving more options to every encounter, that's so good.
That is good.
That's very good. And also just the story structure. How this book is laid out, Ryan, you've ran Curse of Strahd. You know how that book is laid out. It's not laid out
very well. You hop from chapter to chapter.
How this book is laid out is so good. Like you don't have to flip through like front, back, side, up, down. Like the book is laid out very well.
I think a good way to describe it is if any of you out there have played Metro Exodus. That is an open world linear experience where each level is an open world area. That's how this is. Each chapter of the book is an open world area, but you go through them in a linear experience, if that makes sense. You go from one to the next to the next.
I think it's very well done adventure design, how this adventure is laid out.
However,
He's going to be the opposite. We're laid out properly.
no, I'm okay with that. However, that being said, and I mentioned this to our good friends before the podcast, they mentioned before this book came out that they were going to include something similar to the Ravenloft book about how to make your own domains of delight. That is not in the book. Yes, they do.
There aren't really domains of delight here. I mean,
I
kind
know,
of.
it's not in the book.
I did get that vibe, though.
Because they pulled it out of the book, or they probably didn't finish it in time, and is now on DM's Guild for $8.
See, I did get that vibe though, that like between hither, thither, and yon, like they're all made like their own person.
They're all
Like
their own
each
domain,
hag is like its own like kind of domain of dread. And I was thinking that I'm like, this is kind of similar to Ravenloft.
It's definitely like a sister book to it. And I mean, that's how the planes are.
So you do want the whole package, then you have to drop like, what, $58 or depending on the way you buy this book.
It'd be fine without them. If you're wanting to homebrew some stuff and use that, definitely give it a check. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, you
I
can
have
easily
not
read
read
these chapters, like chapters 2, 3, and 4, and like get your ideas of how to make your own like domain of delight.
Yeah.
So, let's go head on to chapter 1.
Yeah.
The intro.
Let me make sure I have nothing else to hit on here.
About the intro.
Okay, so
Extensive notes.
I do have extensive notes.
Good
Make
job.
sure I remember. First of all, I do want to say the artwork is very cool.
So good.
Oh my god.
So good.
I get
It's
some sick
always good,
pictures
though.
here.
It's always
I
good.
love it. Honestly, Brax, that might be your thumbnail with us like in the portal or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cute.
Okay, anyway, so what I like about the intro, obviously it has the character backgrounds.
Before chapter 1. Gotcha.
Yeah, we gotta hit the
It's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. We gotta hit it.
I'm Sonic Speed, man. I just got off work. All right,
That's
I'm
true.
doing that.
He does a delivery. And he was like, I got 4 deliveries to do so I can get there on time. I'm like, deja vu.
So it's got the character backgrounds that we touched on the races.
Very good.
And then it goes into a plot hooks.
Yes, thank you for making me not talk about chapter.
Which, hold on.
Slow your roll there, Braxton.
Points of contingencies.
Pulling back my reins.
At first, I do like that they give you multiple plot hooks. They give you 2 options to mess
Multiple
with.
does not equal 2, but
Couple, they give you a couple.
Give you a couple.
Okay,
It's more than one. It's more than one, first of all. And I like that the first one, the item one, is a very unique way to tie the characters into the adventure. The problem with
It's the
that...
only way to start this adventure. It's the only way to start.
I also disagree.
The problem, though, with that one, I'm going to tell you why it's not the only one, is that it's a very contingent plot hook that... I mentioned this previously. It can be tough for the players to get the wherewithal to want to find their stuff. A, because you didn't actually roleplay and get losing your stuff. Second of all, the clues to find where your things are is only mentioned like once or twice.
And
Specifically on the unicorn. The unicorn tells you which hag has your stuff, and you could very easily miss it.
And the hook that we're talking about is that the characters all have the same kind of background, that they went to this carnival as a kid and illegally they didn't have a ticket and they got like something ripped from them, which I like you're shorter or you can't smile and stuff. I love that, but it forces the players to have that background.
Yes.
It forces them to be able, like, you have to have had to gone to this carnival, and that might not make sense for your character. It depends.
It does make sense after you finish it. it isn't as limiting as you think when you finished it.
Well, what I mean is like,
Wink.
You're railroading them.
yes, you're kind of railroading their background. And that I was getting that feeling as well reading through this chapters 1 and 2, that in Curse of Strahd, it's hard to know what items you need in Curse of Strahd because you get told like once. I was kind of reading through this. I'm like, how do these characters know how to get back the things that they lost? Right?
Not easily. That's the answer.
The second hook is more like you go to a guy, you go to a warlock. He's like, hey,
I like it. It's got warlock in it.
No, I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just like very regular fare. Like you go to this guy, hey, my patron is they're leaving me on red. I don't know what's going on. Send you on a quest to go do this. It changes from like a personal, like I need to go get this because I don't have a part of myself, which invests the characters into the story. This one turns it from that into more of an fetch questy or investigative, like what is going on here? Which your characters might like, your players might like what's going on here? What's this whole mystery?
The reason why I disagreed with you earlier, Braxton, is there could very well be, similar to what Ken was saying, players that don't like that type of plot hook or don't want to be forced into this background.
Get that. I'm not talking about like player enjoyment in terms of like if you want to experience the story as best as it can be.
No, I agree. That the first one is the best.
I think honestly, both of them are very weak. I think they could have been a lot stronger. I think again the problem with them is they don't have the punch behind. Curse of Strahd is go kill this vampire that's screwing over everyone else. This is like
WotC just doesn't have good hooks. No. WotC has a lot of trouble building really good hooks into their stories.
The other problem I forgot to mention with the lost items one is there's a possibility because you do roll them. There's a possibility that some of the hags don't have any of the items. Mm-hmm. So you might just have no reason to talk to this hag or bargain with that hag.
A big thing is that there are several times that whether you find the items or not, there are points where it says, if you were doing this path. And I'm a little upset they didn't have anything for the warlock path, that there were no little flavors. Like if you chose the path to help the warlock do with his patron out.
Besides him dying.
You could also
random.
You could also
Feywild.
Yeah, true. You could also have a warlock patron that worships or gets their power from Zybilna.
Yeah.
Which I think that would like be a great motivation for a warlock player, but everyone else like
everybody's a warlock.
That's a good thing you brought up paths, Braxton, because the next thing is the story tracker idea that they have, which I both like and dislike again.
I think it's implemented poorly, but it's got good intent.
So I like it because I think it's a very unique concept that will help anyone who runs this module run the module, because modules can be very
there's a lot
tough
to keep track
remember
of
things. I don't like it because it's a little too, I feel like, in your face a little bit. Especially, I don't know if this necessarily counts as the story tracker. I think it does a little bit. I don't remember what specifically classifies as it, but the map, and it has the carnival happiness meter, and I think the time makes sense. But showing that specific happiness, I think it'd be cooler to show the happiness meter through the carnival.
Yeah, which you can definitely do.
This person,
both.
Do they don't see the happiness meter, do they?
Yes, they do.
You do. If you have the map in
because it has the whole map out. Yeah, you can keep track behind the screen.
I wouldn't show my players, and I would convey it through how I'm describing the world, but I appreciate having the meter to track as the DM. That's how I read it.
Yes, so it's just as written, it says to have it in front of you.
Yeah, you have it in front of them and track like...
It feels a lot more like a board game.
Yes. Yeah. I do like the hour tracker, though, for them to see.
I do like the hour
tracker. I do like that a lot. And just time in D&D is just so weird.
Yeah.
How to like keep track of time. Because a lot of the modules, it just doesn't matter.
Well, since it's kind of aimless and open world, the carnival, the way they structure it is through time and milestones. And it says, hey, keep track of these hours, but if your players are having fun, feel free to, throw it out the window. It's
a great segue to chapter 1, unless you have something else to say.
One last thing, the rewards for helping the warlock, pretty good. The best thing about them are the letters, though.
But by that time, it's over.
Yes.
But to be fair,
it's a good continuation.
To be fair, every module has really cool stuff you get at the very end.
Every game does.
I like the items.
Plus.
The items. Less so. The letters are the best part. The letters are the best part of it.
Yes, I do like the letters. They're very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads us into chapter 1, the Witchlight Carnival. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's very thematic. The layout's very cool. The attractions are very exciting. It's a lot of fun. It starts with the adventure already in motion. Things are going. You got lots of things to pull from. I'll start with the good stuff first. I'll save my bad stuff till the end of this chapter section. Oh, so tell me your.
I was about to say, like, you bet to offer it on the table.
I really like the carnival. I think it's a great setup. It's one of the best setups in an adventure for just modules.
It makes me want to not necessarily run this campaign, run this module, but to take this stuff and put it in my own game.
It's so easy just to lift everything out of chapter 1 and put it in your home game, because it's all the carnival enclosed by itself, and it already has kind of like a mystery undertone to it with some stuff going on, which you could definitely change to like some cult activity or some other Feywild stuff.
I wish they pushed it a little harder. I love the the ticket thief.
Yes.
People.
Yeah.
I love just like seeing someone in the corner of your eye and then like they're gone.
Or like looking through a crowd and someone just standing there staring at you, and you look back and they're gone.
Exactly. I love it. I wish it was played up a little more.
We know what that's replacing is the threat of death. That's the risk.
True. I think the importance of that
you get
is
kicked out if your ticket's found to be
Yes.
I think the importance of having these ticket people that then steal your stuff to take you to the hags, etc., is good, because if you start with especially the first plot hook, it's just a carnival. I mean, it's just people having fun, and you have to have these, as Kenneth said, these kind of mystery undertones. So there's something not right about this area.
Yeah, it just seeds that there's something more going on. But if you do the second hook, like already investigating this place,
there's something.
You know there's something. Your sniffer is off for investigation stuff. So it's a good for both of them.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. What do you think about the ticket pact?
I like the ticket pact. I like the ticket pact.
Yeah, and it's kind of thematic for rules that get in place later on in the book, which I don't know if you got to or not, but like silly things like you must not tell a lie knowingly.
Yes.
In D&D, holy hell, that's going to be hard.
Knowingly tell a lie. Yeah, it's like, so good.
But I mean, I enjoy it in general, but my biggest standouts are definitely my biggest standouts as good things are absolutely Witch and Light.
They're really good. They're good characters.
Yeah, I do like them.
They're really good. They're well written characters.
Yeah. Especially as you learn about them.
Yeah, and segueing from characters to every important NPC in the back of this book has like a card that lets you just look at quickly to remember how to roleplay as them and like their wants, ideals, flaws. I think that's great.
That's huge.
It's so good.
The other modules are so confusing to keep all these people in track in your mind.
And
you gotta like flip back and forth, and you see this huge stat block with their information, and it can get very overwhelming.
Segueing from Witch and Light, what are your guys' opinions on Kettle Steam, the little kenku that like causes trouble?
I like Kettle.
Yeah,
he's cute.
Yeah, okay.
I think one of my big gripes about it is, and this perspective happens a lot when I look at adventures. Like I just don't know if I'd be interested in everything. A lot of my motivators are engaging mechanics, which doesn't have to just be combat, but a lot of this
games are engaging.
They are engaging, but at some point you're going to run out of them, or something's going to happen, and it's just like, what's going on here? It's very much on the DM to set the pacing, which is supplied to you in this, but I feel like I definitely would need the DM to give me many reasons at the beginning to keep playing.
I mean,
otherwise I'm like...
I think to me the biggest problem with this chapter is the vagueness of the plot hook, which then leads into the vagueness of your goals while you're in this fun carnival. You're all just messing around, having a blast, having fun. There's no reason to go searching deeper until you to me, the where you learn all the lore and the information and the stuff that's underneath the surface is from the unicorn stuff. But you wouldn't even know or want to talk to them because you don't think anything's going on. There's no reason to have these in-depth conversations with these unicorns to help them find their names again. And then let's say you do, let's say, oh yeah, I'll do this fun little mini game. And then what questions do you have to ask? Or then you get this little lore tidbit. Okay, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah. You know what would be really hard about DMing this is the moments that you've got between a game, like doing the snail race and something else. as a DM, you have to be really prepared to have hooks fly by the players. Otherwise, it's just like,
there's like
I guess we go here.
little roll table for like random encounters.
But you still can't just be like, well, I guess you could. Then you walk. Here's the next booth. This is what it is. Do you want to go there?
Yeah.
This leads me to my second problem that I have with this chapter. The vagueness of the goals, because the goals are so vague, and because new DMs might have trouble incentivizing players to go searching to show this mystery. They have this planeswalker, Thumblestrum.
I just Eliwick Tumblestrum.
Yeah, she's from AFR. She's from Forgotten Realms, Magic the Gathering set that came out. She's Planeswalker Green.
She is Railroad the NPC to help the players get from point A to point B if time runs out or they're not doing the right stuff.
Good.
It is helpful,
They needed it.
but they needed it. But I don't think they should have needed it. There should have been other things they could have done.
But it's always good to have that
Throw it in their
backup
face.
thing. I would rather have her in there and not use her rather than her not be in there at all. That's just my opinion on it. And she's also there like if your players just start killing people or like making a fuss. She's like, oh, we need to leave. She's like, oh, we need to leave. I will show you how to get out of here. Which does come into the D&D out in the world not fixing this, right? I was just making sure the recording was still going. But one of the things in here can kill your players.
Yeah.
One of
chapter 1.
In chapter 1.
There's one later on that will also kill your players.
It is the it's the Mystery Mine ride. Because if you're unlucky enough, so it's like a ride that sends you through to kind of like a mystery mountain type ride that shows you your greatest fear. And if you fail the wisdom saving throw, you gain 1d3 levels of exhaustion.
Jeebus.
Gosh.
How many is it until you die, Kenneth?
6.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. And I forget how much each character. So if you have 3 characters, that's 3 wisdom saving throws they have. If there's 6 characters, that is 6 saving throws. And
What's the DC?
12
pretty
wisdom.
low.
It's pretty low. And wisdom is a very common stat to have high, but at level 1, that's like a 50-50. That's
the same problem with putting ghouls against low levels.
Yeah,
you can paralyze them and kill them.
You could go through this ride and come out dead on the other side. All right?
Yes.
But best NPC in here that I noticed from chapters 1 and 2, best NPC, the cat,
Durlagron.
It's a little displacer beast that is just, hanging out. It's a little cat.
It's super cute too because it uses the displacer beast little tendrils as the butterfly. You're required to wear butterfly wings on your back. You are. Otherwise, people are going to think you sus, and they're going to be like, "Hey, put your butterfly wings on."
Best ride in here, though, snail racing.
Oh my god!
I've in Tomb of Annihilation, there's dinosaur racing. Ran that. Players loved it. This will be the same thing.
There's a thing I thought about the snail racing, and what my brain went is. They just gave us a template for how to do races.
Yeah, no, that was in Tomb of Annihilation.
They have, but like it's a little different. I love how they said initiative just doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't in the races. And then there's also one callback to like a D&D or like first edition D&D with the clown character, an over the hill clown character called Thaco. Which, if you don't know what Thaco means, it is how people used to determine if you got hit or not, which is Thaco stands for to hit AC 0. And so they made a reference to that.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
He's a nerd and reads all the old stuff. We're the modern people that read
I read
the new
both,
things.
man. Come on.
I read some old stuff, man.
Don't lump me in with yourself.
No.
The way you said
I like to segue us to chapter 2.
that word spelled
One
very
of my favorite things in the carnival in chapter 1 is the mirrors.
It's super good.
The mirror maze. It's very, especially if you use the event that is in there with the guy that gets
The
lost.
halfling?
Yeah. Can be very creepy, very Saw-esque to me. Seeing this pig-headed girl walking around.
Yeah, well, she is a part of a creepy group of people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I just love the image of this like halfling walking into the mirror and the ring just like ting ting ting, just like going onto the ground. It's very good.
They introduce a great deal of mechanics with like the rings and a bunch of other stuff that foreshadows events that go on later in each of the hags domains, as we were putting it before.
Definitely chapter 1 is one of the harder.
Yeah.
It's pretty
chapters
tough.
to run.
I think like this no adventure by WotC really is like, hey, pick it up, read it for a week, and say, hey, let's play. Unless you're,
I feel like this is the easiest one to do that by, but you're just gonna have to know that you need to like.
You gotta have
everything has to be there.
You gotta have a printout like next to you of all the carnival events with a map in front
And
of
you're
you.
just gonna have to have that thought like, okay, how do I keep the characters keep going into the actual adventure?
Like, I can definitely see in my case, if I DM'd this, it'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. And I prep and I feel confident. And we start and I'm like sweating my ass. I'm like, what's going on? Like,
To be fair, that's every game.
It is every game.
So,
Chapter 2.
leading us into chapter 2. This is, which one is it called?
Hither.
Hither, that's
It's
right.
Hither, thither, and
Yawn.
So this is, they find the portal into the Feywild, hidden within the carnival, and this is a dark swamp. It's Kenneth's jam.
It's my jam. I love
It's
Dark
got
Souls, man.
mischief, buffoonery,
Herringons.
mystery, rabbit folk,
Herringon encounter.
bogs, bullywugs.
I do like how they start you in a set one instead of like, hey, choose to put them in either one of these. Like, no, they start here. That's very free.
There's a couple of things in each of these chapters that come on where they suggest doing it in the order that it is presented.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, Braxton, because I'm going to tell everyone what the. This is a open world-esque adventure, but they do start off with a pretty open intense event that happens. The thing that falls in the distance, the what's it called? The hot air balloon is what I mean to say.
Yeah.
And so that's supposed to get the players like, hey, let's go see what the hell that was. And then these events take place. So the party discovers some stuff, and then that leads them to this place. Then from there, they go into this place, and then they arrive to where the hag is. And then there's lots of plots with the bullywugs and everything going on. And then from there, they hopefully have bargained and learned some more information about what's going on. But the nature of open world stuff, the players could go wherever and so be a little more prepared to, plot these encounters randomly.
Yeah, you're gonna have to kind of adapt and be open to like either railroading them to these places or just throwing random encounters until they wander to the place, because they don't have a map of this, so they don't know where's where. So, and it even says that in the book, like, hey, if they're not going to the place that you want them to, just plop it in front of them, because the Feywild is tricky and it can change locations.
How convenient.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
I really like the rules of conduct that they set out in the Prismeer, which is the rule of hospitality, rule of ownership, and rule of reciprocity.
Which is pushing to try to alleviate the players from going to combat.
Yes, yeah. Like, be hospitable to everyone. Don't steal because you might turn into a tree, or be nice to people, or you might turn into a frog.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting solution to leaving it entirely open-ended to the DM how somebody responds versus, hey, most of these people, if not all of them, even the hags, abide by these rules.
Yes. Yeah.
And it kind of jumps into the the current event of not all X and Y monster creature or like lineage race is one way. Like, these villains aren't all terrible people. Like, the hags aren't abysmally awful, which is very counter to what they traditionally been.
It's a good point to say that none of the villains in this campaign, in this module, are particular villains or out to hurt the party.
They're kind of like fairy tale, like Disney fairy tale.
Yes.
Not original fairy tale as that's dark. But it even says like they're very hospitable and they're very they like giving gifts back and forth to people, even though those gifts might be twisted.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good time for you all to go check out our hag episode that we did a while ago to help you learn how to roleplay those hags a little better. Not just violent creatures. They got a lot of complex motives.
Yeah. Before we get too far away from Witch and Light, because they kind of go away from this point for a bit.
Yes, they do.
They really do. Which is interesting because I love their story. They own this carnival only because they traded it for the counterpart that they used to run in the Shadowfell, which is something that has been in Ravenloft and was in the book that just came out as well, with the owner of the one where we currently are, of the Witchlight Festival. They swapped, and if the two are ever to meet again by the Plains Crossing, or however it's going to work, that's when their deal is up and they go back. So a lot of Witch and Light's perspectives are, we want to keep this, how do we prevent that from happening? And these hags are wanting to out their secret. That's how they're kind of holding Witch and Light hostage in a sense, and they're being able to do all of their hag-like things and propagate them.
That's a neat thing they could do after the campaign is have those two carnivals meet and then like dealing with that fallout. A thing that I like that they say in here in chapter 2 is that if a character expresses too much emotion of one thing, like the area around them changes. And I also like death effects. Like when a character dies, they don't just die, something else might happen. They might turn to stone or they might pop up to like 1 HP. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yep, a lot of stuff to prevent combat, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And you could definitely do combat as well. Like it's not like
You really could.
yeah, you could easily, if your characters like see Harengon brigands, they could go fight them. Like it's not like don't fight them, but
This guy.
they're not creatures here aren't actively trying to kill you most of the time.
The pictures in this.
Do we have any gripes with this chapter?
No, I
think it's the weakest of the three.
Really? Well, I haven't read the other two, so I guess I can't say.
It's not weak in and of itself, but of the three, I do think it's the one that I'd come out as a player of remembering it the least.
See, I really like how it's set up. I just might think, I don't know, I haven't read the other ones. I don't know how formulaic, like go to this place, go to this place, go to this place, city area with Hag. I don't know how that is, but I really like the encounters that are in here. Not the random ones, but the preset one, like the one with the fairy dragon knights, or the one with Jingle Jangle, and the like the living hill, and then the ones especially with the Harengons, like the Harengon brigands. I do
really enjoy that encounter.
If you need a stat block for like a really tricksy kind of like fast, and I mean fast, like 140 movement speed with the dash action. It's pretty fast. Like thief. Adgon Longscarf is a little asshole and a little shit, but he has a perfect stat block for that kind of character.
I mean, for context, he's got 35 feet, and if he's wearing a scarf, he's got 70.
Which he's always wearing.
He's always wearing.
And he can turn invisible if he hits you with his weapon. So.
And he's so tricksy because they are wanting to make it not lead directly into fight.
Yes. Yeah.
But conversely, I'd love to throw this guy in a fight. Like, my God. Yeah. That's the only thing that stands out is the Harengon fight.
My gripes with this chapter.
What are your grapes?
My grapes.
Don't you say the bullywogs.
I'm gonna go off the chapters first. Not the chapter, the combat thing first. Okay. There are two fairly deadly encounters in here if the players do fight. Yes. One of them being the awakened tree, awakened trees at the Ptolemy Hill.
Yes. A lot.
Yes, there's a potential for like 10 trees to be thrown at the party. And granted, it would have to go pretty poorly for it to get to that point. Yes. But if it did, they could probably die.
Yes.
Second, the other encounter, the big Barkless encounter, that's the Chris Perkins deadly encounter building in there. The one where it's inside Downfall, which I'll get to Downfall here in a minute, which is the city with the hags.
So you might have gotten
it's technically, I guess
it's the dungeon portion.
I guess it is.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
it's the town. So Big Barkless is this large, it's almost like another large awakened tree. And there are 3 little fairy shits that are inside of them. And they're trying to entice the party to attack. And if the party attacks, they have this gigantic tree now attacking them, which will definitely kill them at a level 2.
Oh, this tree is from Curse of Strahd as well, so.
I will say, there is a caveat in the beginning that mentions start your players at level 1 if you're not anticipating them to go fight at a bunch of stuff, if they're down for things being a little bit more difficult, if they do get into encounters. But if you think they're going to be prone to fighting things and you can't control, start them at level 3.
Speaking of that, I think the characters will level up this isn't, like, they'll level up quick in this.
Milestones, which you didn't mention.
It actually does say they level up when they go from each place.
From each place and meeting the hags.
Yep. Yes.
Is it meeting the hags or surviving an encounter with
I think it's bargaining and surviving.
It's surviving after the first encounter with the hags.
Yep.
So this, like, you could go, like, start in this hither area and get to Downfall in 1 session at least.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very quick. Yeah. This is a very, from what I was reading, this whole adventure just seems you can go through it very quickly.
You probably could. I think.
Especially just like role playing.
How long would you have the carnival be?
Probably a session. Like
full session?
Yeah, just 1 session.
I would at least finish it and lead into something.
Right.
Yeah, you could easily do it in 1 session.
You got to start building to something, definitely that session. And I would say, finishing them with my combat gripe, if the players have the second combat hook, the Warlock one.
Yes.
I feel like they could get into their heads that they're needing to kill
Yes.
the hags.
Yeah.
Which would kill them if they were to fight the first hag they encounter.
Because they'll be level 2, and it's
Yeah.
what? CR8 hag?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a nasty hag.
Vorna?
So Downfall still is chapter 2. It's just
Yes, I'm including it all
section.
together.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna break your heart again.
Do you not like the bullywugs, man?
I think the Bullywug plot is totally useless.
Damn.
I mean, you're not wrong. It is. It doesn't add
And it's
anything.
extremely railroady and heavy-handed in the way they
Yes,
force
a
you to
little
go talk to the king right away.
I just like the bullywug royalty, man. Like,
I mean, I like Bullywugs, but I think it's a little bit much.
it is. Every NPC before talking to the king is like, oh no, go talk to the
Go
king.
talk to the king. That's what it says they should say.
Yes. I do love them though. Damn it. I love these low frog guys that are there's a whole bridge which is dark. There's a whole bridge with decapitated bullywug hags that just talk. They just keep talking. And that's where you meet your little scarecrow guide person. We should have mentioned that there are guides, like you can't go through the mist. It's kind of like
Yes.
Ravenloft, where you can't like walk from area to area. You have to be guided through them by these guys that know the way.
Much like the Shadow.
That is
Which I like. I like it. Or you can fly over it, which you can get a hot air balloon in this area, which you can just steal and kill all the bullywugs. So
Why would you want to do that?
I think they're frog people.
They are
And they're
frog.
they're assholes as
I
well.
did like Jingle Jangle though.
Jingle Jangle's a great character.
Jingle Jangle.
But going along with what Kenneth was just saying, great segue into the next chapter, is getting to the next chapter can also be difficult if the players do not talk to the hag. Let's say they kill the hag for whatever reason.
Somehow.
If they haven't, somehow. If they haven't bargained or made the deal to then go steal the painting from the next hag sister, they unless they know for a fact that that sister or the sister farther along has their particular item, they really have no reason to continue.
Yeah.
It's tough to have the. I think that's the biggest problem with this whole adventure for me is
like
the
you need to-
direction.
yeah.
You gotta push them along a little bit.
Yeah. I do, speaking on the structuring the book, enjoy how each chapter has its dungeon or its area that you can explore through. And it's like, this is this hag's domain. Where are they at? What's going on here? What's X, Y, and Z? And then it keeps going.
It is pretty, like I said, it is good adventure design, like laying out. It's just like that through line of like why or how do we do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is honestly the hardest part of DMing is making your players like letting them like giving the information how to do something and why they would want.
But I do think as this, I guess this technically hasn't been marketed to new players or new DMs, but I think it definitely will be.
Yes.
I think that's.
I mean, we said it was.
I think that's
good
one of
for
the
new
problems
players.
is if this already is a struggle for DMs, period, this is going to be even harder for new DMs, especially with the way
Unless
it's
there's
laid
a
out.
lot of like player buy-in.
Yeah, and there's something later, which Kenneth even gotten to, where, and I'll touch on it when we get there, that if you do not do a specific thing, you will not meet the guide that will take you to the next domain. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can just throw the guide in front of their faces, but still.
As run.
I don't think this is friendly for new role players, this campaign.
I think it is to an extent. There's one, which I think
asks
is the
a
next
lot.
chapter.
It's the third
It's
one.
very difficult
Yeah.
for new RPers or people that don't like RPing at all, but they probably shouldn't be playing this.
Enlighten me. That's a good segue into chapter
Should we
3.
just-
Yeah, that's a
Before
great
we
start.
do, did you like the dungeon?
Oh, like the whole Downfall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like
it's
Downfall.
cool.
I do like
I
Downfall.
love the swamp.
Besides the bullet.
So let me
God, man, the bullywugs.
Let me take the
Besides the
explanation.
bullywugs.
Wait, is this the?
Yeah, thither?
Is this?
I don't
the
think this
one?
is
Chapter 3?
I think it's the last.
It's the
one.
next one. Yeah, it's
It
not
is.
this one.
All right, so you guys. You
Okay, don't enlighten me yet, but enlighten me about chapter 3.
Yeah, I'll like you.
Go chapter 2. Chapter 2. Or this is chapter 3.
This
Yeah,
is
chapter 3.
chapter
Chapter
three.
3.
We are going in
1,
order.
2, 3.
Yeah, that's how the
Yeah.
book is laid
Chapter
out.
4.
Also, I love that picture of the tree folk guy, like with swings on
Yeah,
him.
the tree ant. Yeah, his name is Little Oak.
This chapter
Also,
He's not little. I'll
it's
tell you
also
that.
his rapper name.
should mention.
Little
Little
Oak.
Oak. Yeah.
I feel like they provided more encounters in this book and specifically this chapter than like anything they've ever done.
Like the random encounter.
For open, this is standard for open world
Yes.
stuff.
I guess I just haven't come read one of
I
these.
did
much.
look through, I didn't read this chapter, but I did look through the wanted posters. Really like the Wander posters. They seem
Yes.
really good. And your characters will know, like, bring me this imp alive and unharmed, and I'll bury you up to your neck in silver. They know they're dealing with a hag. They know they're probably going to get, like, not get silver, but, like, get turned into silver or some shit, right?
So to answer your question, Kenneth, this chapter is very formulaic in the same way that the last one is.
Yeah.
It follows the exact same form with the open sandbox, some sequence of events, and then leading to the second hack.
What's the deal with this area? Is it just like a forest?
It's a great question. So after you leave Hither, right, you arrive in this enchanted forest of Thither. This is Thither. Excuse me. This is a forest level. It has fey magic going on. There are goblins that love candy. Very Zelda-esque.
Yes, yeah.
There is a unicorn guardian here. There's a lot of children that are attacking, waging war on a hag.
Okay.
Yes, it's very.
Do they know that they can't be hurt?
It's a lot of stuff going on.
Because that's the thing. Children can't be hurt. If they get hurt, they get whisked away into some other plane. Which, if you're playing child PC, I mean, if you get hurt, you just roll up another character, I guess. Like,
so the general overview, I guess I'll say real fast, is that the suggested series of events, but again, it's open world, is you have this, you encounter the old man that has been cursed by Skabatha. He pushes, Skabatha. He pushes the party to find this youth who is wanted by Skabatha, and then the party meets this youth, and then his band of rebels, the Getaway Gang.
that's cool.
And, yeah.
I like that name.
Very kind of Goonies-esque here. And he attempts to help the party infiltrate into her lair and rescue the rest of the children.
Okay.
This is starting to get the better hooks going. Fixing the problem that I had before. But again, that is they could
Chapter
miss,
1 and 2
they could
is
miss these
like,
things,
yeah.
of course. And then that's when you also begin to meet and learn the lore on what happened in Prismeer. I start understanding that there's a little bit more, underneath.
I think chapter 3 is a pretty good point to start
to show there's more happening.
Yeah.
And you meet the League of Malevolence. This is the.
See, I saw their stat box. I was wondering what their deal was.
This is the behind the scenes kind of secondary villains in this.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And then as you learn and piece all this information together, that's when you go to attack, head to the hideout, save the captives, and figure out what to do with the hack. Which obviously in turn, after you deal with the hack, can then lead you to the next.
With Squirt, the oil can.
Yes, and now I'll say that right off the thing. That's my main gripe with this chapter is that to find Squirt to lead you to the next domain is completely dependent on you asking the Getaway Gang, and this is again rules as written, is asking the Getaway Gang how would I go about getting there? How can we continue? And then they were like, oh hey, you gotta go find this oil can.
I do feel like that's a reasonable request though. How to get from this place to this place.
Yeah, there's definitely ways that you could say, hey, are you moving on from here after you guys kill the hag or do that you guys are leaving? You go talk to Squirt, he'll help you out. So that's my only gripe. Everything else I do really like about it.
Yeah, it's just from the artwork, it seems like a mysterious kind of like dark forest, which I'm always good for.
I love the unicorn. I love clarity.
Where is it?
There's a thing that when you brought up the Gang of Malevolence, looking through, I did skim through the back of the stat blocks. I really like how this is the first adventure that I've seen that it tells you like how they fight, like what their main deal is, right? Like how because a lot of adventure books and monster manuals don't tell you how the creature fights.
No.
It's like their strategies.
They're party materials.
Yes. But this, it's like, hey, they just want to hit something with a sword, or they like want to keep their buddies up, keep them alive, try and do everything else. And with stat blocks on the mind, they did fix something that I had a problem with in Candlekeep. I think it was Candlekeep, maybe Tasha's. They took out alignment. And now in here it says they're typically chaotic neutral, typically chaotic good, typically lawful. I think that's a great fix for it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Adding a single word, good fix, takes less money. Yep. My favorite thing about this whole shebang, and I freaked out about it in the beginning, if you watch the start of this episode, it's the owlbear encounter. Owlbear chariot. Yeah. Dude, the best way to die in D&D would by not feeding your owlbear chariot.
Owlbears are tough.
So no, this says it is docile and friendly unless it goes, I believe, 8 days without being fed.
8 and 3 are the numbers here as well.
But I'm just like, if that happened to my players or me, like that's such a unique end to an encounter for me. It's just like, yeah, the bear's like looking at us, a little hungry looking right now, and it's like this thing has been really cool, really chill this whole time, and now it's eating my friend alive.
Well, I think players like they like animals, so of course they're gonna feed it, right?
I just well,
Usually it's
if you're a good DM, you'd be like, you guys are kind of running out of food, you know?
Well, maybe have its tummy rumbling, you know?
Yeah.
Feed it your arm, man.
The getaway game can give you some.
Yeah.
I just got to the end of that. It's like, yeah, I'll eat them. I was like, oh.
This has bogles in it though. This chapter, which are from Magic as well.
Yeah, there's some magic little drip drops in here, as we mentioned before.
Which I just seem to like this. I like the magic mushroom picture.
Don't touch my knee, man.
There's that. So your complaints were that it
That's my main complaint. Everything else, I like the RP. I like that it incentivizes like a stealth kind of Mission Impossible kind of mission with these kids. It's very cool.
And if you're coming off of Saltmarsh, like Saltmarsh campaign, Scabatha Nightshade might be Granny Nightshade in the forest in Saltmarsh, so you could definitely tie that in because it doesn't say her first name in the Saltmarsh. I think it's just Granny Nightshade. So there you go.
All right, and then after that, escort the oil can lead you through the mists to Yawn. Chapter 4.
The Yawn.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what is even going on in this place up until the final part.
Dude, yeah.
What is?
So it's very interesting. First, let me lay the stage, and then and then Braxton can lay down what he likes about this.
Yeah.
So I know he's gonna take it away here in a second. So this completely like flips the script.
Yeah. Did you write these?
No, I wish.
Completely
flips the script on what was coming before. While the first 3 chapters are kind of whimsical, fun, silly-go-lucky, this still has a little bit of that. It's a lot darker, gloomier, and creepier.
Yeah,
here.
it does look dark.
I mean, especially her ticket thief is like this creepy shadow, so it makes sense. So after you leave thither and you're headed into Yawn, it's this dark, bleak, mountainous realm. It's ruled over by Indolent Moongrave. That's her name.
That's a rad name.
That's super cool. And she loves grim theatrical plays.
So do I.
So much so that she watches 2 a day.
Yeah,
Dude,
so
she's after my own heart. I love that shit too.
So that's gonna lead. So let me lay down the path, the general path that they give you, and then Braxton, you take it away. So it starts off you're brought up in front of this elf friend and her giant dandelion.
Is it a giant dandelion?
It's big.
Yeah.
Giant dandelion, giant bees.
See, yeah.
Actually, there's a tiny bee and a small.
What keeps the giant bees? Giant beekeeper.
Oh, a giant bee.
Well,
So this starts the interfaction war that goes on here.
Okay.
They tell you about the courts, and that they may help you overthrow this hag that's going on.
Like the Seelie and Unseelie court? You say courts?
Corrid.
Corrid.
Korr.
See, I thought you were talking about like the Seelie and Unseelie court. I'm like, okay, it's bringing in the actual Feywild. So no, it's just okay.
And from there, you go to check out what these chords are and what they're doing. Yeah, those things.
Yeah, they're from Volos and
freaks.
Kainens, yeah.
They're dancing. They're hanging.
It reminds me of the trolls from Frozen a little
Kind
bit.
of.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And they tell you, hey, we got this big problem, the Briganox, and they are loyal to the hag through and through. If you help us deal with them, then we're going to help you fight this hag. It's going to be great.
Okay.
So you go.
Get your own army.
So first, this could happen. You could meet an elf that is trying to leave the Feywild, and you can then help them, which I will get to this back later. I mean, this section, that elf encounter, doesn't have much to do with everything else, but it does say you encounter this.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Then from there, you meet the Briganox, and you understand that they also don't like the hag, but they think the other group likes the hag. And so now you got a problem going on here. Miscommunication. So you got to somehow, if you can get them...
love that in stories.
If you can get them to meet eye to eye, then you got a big-ass army to go to the hag.
Hell yeah, brother.
So,
and then you go to the hag's land.
So what if we said, screw all that.
Okay.
We're just going to chat with the hag and put on a play.
Well, first you got to get to the lair.
It's true.
Which they take you to. So that more or less that happens.
Big horse.
Yeah. So that happens. And then you get to the hag, and what happens?
You say, screw it, and you put on a play.
Instead of killing her.
Yeah. Well, it's just so, you're like, let's maybe that's what they wanted to do. Is like, yeah, it's going to battle. Hell yeah! You get there, and she's like, hey, if you want to chat with me, you gotta act. And
But,
find a good play.
Braxton,
Yeah, what's up?
but this is no typical play. is
No.
it?
It's not.
This is whose line is it anyway improv.
Literally is whose line is it anyway improv. There
I
are
love
lines.
that.
You have this little guy called
Yeah.
Stage Fright.
See, I was
feeds
wondering
you-
what those lines. The lines in the back
Yeah.
are so fucking
He
good.
feeds you these lines and you have to fit them into your improv.
Yeah, and there's like a meter. Or
That's so good though.
You
I
either
love
get-
that.
I love it.
You'll get yeeted out by the hag if she's not happy with it.
Okay.
And if she is happy with it, the way you judge that is by these certain rule sets that
Yes.
did they manage to fit the line into it? Does it help the
Did it go
narrative?
well?
There's 4 criteria that meets
That's
that.
super
So-
good though.
I mean, but think about it. New players who
New
are already
players,
yeah.
struggling role playing. Can you role play while you're role playing?
Yes.
This is like, yeah, if
Yeah,
you're
no,
not
this
good
is
at-
advanced.
if you're not good at improv, this will be
No.
a struggle.
Yes.
It will.
Yeah.
Because I would say in most cases the DM can help, lend them a hand.
Yeah.
This is all them.
Now, do they have to do this, or can you just like fight them with the
Kill
armor?
her, yeah, for sure.
But this is the bargaining technique. This is
Okay,
This is the
gotcha,
easy way
gotcha.
to do
Okay.
it.
This is like the peaceful.
the easy way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be so much. This is a
the
big
fun
reason
way.
why.
This would be really fun to run, though. I would feel like,
Yes.
but not for new players.
For a
but
particular group of people, it'd be a blast.
Yeah, and they do say, I mean, there are roles that you can play, or you can make your own if the players don't like it. But some of them are like a drunken satyr, field magician, high-mighty princess.
So-
very straightforward.
Yes, stage fright can
Role-playing,
help them.
role-playing.
They
Love
give
it.
you as much
Yeah,
as they.
yeah, stage fright can help them put it together, but then it's all on them.
On them.
And I think the other problem with this is it is a roll table to choose the parts, but obviously you don't have to.
No, you just give away.
now that I was looking at those lines in the back, those are just good lines to have as an NPC say as they're fighting. Like it's you could have an NPC that their only like talking is those lines, like a Kenku or something. That'd be really cool.
Could you already have the sword by this point?
The Snicker Snack?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about.
Could you already
that.
have that at this point?
Yes, you could have gotten it
the
a while
vocal
ago.
sword?
I mean,
So-
but there's also a possibility you'll never find it.
It's true. So there's the Vorpal sword in this. There is a what's the dragon's name? And
The Jabberwock?
yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
That's just a creature.
Yeah. So the sword itself has the ability to not only add 3 to all of your rolls for attacks and to hit, but if it has a head and does not have legendary resistances and a few other things, and the DM is okay with it, if you crit
They just die.
and the head is something that needs to live, they just die.
Yeah, that's just a Vorpal sword for you, my guy.
So here, imagine this: you're putting on a play, and you try to finagle in a way to where you get the hag involved, and she's having so much fun because it's
just
going on. You
decapitate
just
her?
but you have to crit. So,
Well, one of my players just always rolls nat 20s for some reason, so easy for him.
but yeah, it could be super cool. And then, I mean, she basically is just like, "Yeah, this is cool. Let's do it. What do you guys want to know? Here's your trinkets. Okay, bye."
She just really wants that play.
Yeah,
And then your higher level, you come back and kill them.
you
Could
could.
you could?
But that's pretty much the whole shtick with it. Gripes
like
is just that it's really hard.
Yeah, I like the chords and Briganock's little allyship. It can help you.
Are the random encounters good?
Yeah, it's similar fare to that, so again, very formulaic. I will say, so going back to the random elf guy, so the shtick with this is that he is trying to light Fey beacons to get out. He's trying to leave the Feywild, right? And there are these creatures that you have to light them all. One person has to light all of them, and these creatures, these flying beasts that are putting them out and like kind of laughing and messing with them. And so he sees you like, hey, can you help me? And they're obviously you can fight these creatures.
Are they Paratons?
Yes, I believe so. And then you could also like perform for them and do stuff. And then they're like, hey, cool, we'll fuck off. We'll let you do your thing. So the problem with this is it has nothing to do with what's happening. But B, so let's say the guy dies or one of your players is like, I want to light these things.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Oh.
They cannot, it even says it's a one-way trip. They will not return. If you light them all, you look into this pool and you see your most memorable location in your memory. And you just jump into it and boom.
Is
bye.
it only one person?
Yep, and you're out of the adventure.
So it can't be the whole group. It can't be like a way how to leave.
Why
It's
they
whoever
do this.
lights all the beacons.
They tend to do this with their adventures sometimes. I don't know. They did it with Curse of Strahd as well.
I don't know.
It reminds me so much of like some convoluted thing in a raid in a game that
It's like an Easter egg.
You find all the 28 urns that are littered throughout the map.
I mean, it's cool if you help the elf and he's like, hey, thanks guys. And he hops in and you watch him disappear in this lake. Boom.
Yeah,
You just help this guy out. That looks cool.
Oh, maybe.
But if you do it, then there's not really a way to tell the player this will end your campaign.
It reminds me of the pool in Curse of Strahd.
Yes.
And Kresk. It reminds me of that a lot because that can kind of do the same thing.
It can mess things up.
Yeah.
But that's chapter 4.
Yeah.
That's yawn.
A thing that I do have to say, the maps, they're all
Aren't they so good?
They're good, but they're all 1 square equals 10 foot. I hate it. Let's see. We do 5 foot squares. Come on, man.
It's Feywild. It's supposed to be
The
funky, man.
reason they did that is just because they couldn't fit everything on and make the grids
I
that small without probably not meeting some sort of visibility requirement.
Yeah, I know. But
Palace
still,
of Heart's Desire.
this is where the dandelion leads
This
you, right?
is Prismeer. The heart of Prismeer, I should say.
This is where Zibblebainba is frozen.
The Bilna.
Okay, so this
Heart's
breaks
Desire.
the mold. It is no longer the formulaic nature.
No.
It's like a dungeon, right?
This is
It's like Ravenloft, like Castle Ravenloft a little bit.
More or less, yeah. Instead of fighting through everything and occasionally seeing Strahd and fighting him, you are avoiding the League of Malevolence and avoiding the Jabberwock. Those things will fuck you up.
Is there a lot of puzzles in here?
There's some. Yeah.
Yes, there are. I will talk about those later.
What's the whole gist? Why are they here? What do they need to do?
You want
here?
You want to save Prismeer
Yeah.
Okay.
and save the Archfey Zibelina.
And release Witch and Light from the clutches of the hag so they can just keep doing their carnival thing, you know? Can't forget about that.
Which you find out pretty quick.
You're really salty
It's
about
just
that.
it happens and it's never back.
True.
I don't remember what I was doing. But yeah, time.
Fuck.
Yeah. What? Yeah, it kept referencing
They're
time a lot.
frozen in time.
Yeah, on the entire castle. It's similar, I would say, to
Stasis.
yes. But I was going to Beauty and the Beast, where instead of being all little appliances, they are trapped in time.
Yeah.
Now, is it like people can't move there, or is it just like it's all trapped in time? You can move about in it, like NPCs, right?
I don't think it
Like are the NPCs like just stuck there like drinking their
There's
tea and they can't move?
There's a guy in his bedroom looking at himself or something, and he's literally just
Okay,
like they're just stuck.
that's kind of funny.
You do have the ability to unfreeze things if you have a unicorn horn and it is being wielded
luck
or it
finding
is a
that.
person. Right?
I don't know what they were doing with that unicorn horn.
You know that's like Chris Perkins'
That
thing.
is
Like, he
Chris
did
Perkins'
it with Chris.
I mean, it's cool
Curse of Strahd as well.
too. It's cool for if you play it again with another group down the line. It's a
think
different
that- yeah.
location, but the problem is the locations that they can be in are so ridiculous, and it's very common for you to just miss
Miss
the
it.
time.
You'd have to railroad deep.
And you have to go all the way back to try to find
These
it.
sorts of things work in video games where you're going to do it multiple
travel.
times. You can play it again. You can get the same group of people. It mentions the unicorn horn as a feature to be able to unfreeze people, and then I'm like, I didn't even like where.
Yeah, right.
Are you going to give it to me here?
Yeah, if you don't find it, you like, what do you? I imagine the players like, what? This guy's frozen. What
As
do
the
we do?
DM, if you at this point are like confident in running this, and you're getting to the chapter where the unicorn horn is, you also might miss it.
Well, the other option to unfreeze them is the sword that one of the League of Malevolence members is holding.
Okay.
But the problem is if you utilize that, the queen gets upset. She's like, I can't believe you did it in this manner. You should have used the unicorn horn. Well, fuck
Sorry.
me. I couldn't find it, right? I'm using
She will apologize.
But still, she's upset. It's not it's not the best ending if you're doing it in that format.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing for lost my train of thought. I'll get it back. Don't worry. Keep going.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You lost your ticket. It's fine.
Something else. I'm gonna hop around from the things I like and
it's
don't like. I do think this is to me, a satisfying payoff for a lot of the stuff that happens throughout the rest of the adventure. A lot of things tie in. There's a lot of threads that were open that are now tied.
Yeah.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Almost everything does.
Bring it
Now,
up, Kenneth.
if you're doing the like lost memory, like lost thing stuff, you usually find everything that you want before this, right?
Yes, because all the hacks have them.
So at that point, what do they have a purpose for coming here?
See,
Trying to leave, like trying to leave.
Witch and light and returning the place to normal. The reason that everybody's emotions, which you can learn is affecting the world is because the one who regulates that power is
in stasis.
Yeah, you learn a lot of this from the unicorn from the last chapter.
Gotcha.
So basically, hopefully you've enjoyed this place enough and you've learned tidbits of how her not being in power is affecting things.
Or you could have been the adventure in the last chapter after you got your stuff back.
Yeah. You could end it, but you're just stuck there.
Fuck, it's like Realm of the Frostmaiden. You don't have to in the
True.
mega dungeon.
True, yeah.
This is no mega dungeon, but it's definitely cool.
It seems cool.
It is really cool.
I do. So the on the opposite side of the spectrum, I do think this is a fairly anticlimactic ending.
Is it? So it's a good payoff tying things
So
together.
it is pre-climactic. There is
So
no
you get
climax.
you get the payoff. It's like, oh, cool, and then it's
Done.
wait, what? That's the end.
Can I tell him? No.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
You
so
gotta read the book.
you know
at
the
some
past,
point.
present, future thing?
Yeah.
So she is also affected by that. There's several ways when you unfreeze her that you can, if you mention her past, she gets pissed, turns into a young version of herself.
Okay.
The book does skirt around it, and she's like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. But eventually you're able to like make a wish if you want by whether you
But, like, the
destroy her,
wish
call it
spell,
wrong,
the
wish
literally
spell,
wish spell,
make a wish foundation. And after all that's been resolved and whatnot, I can't remember exactly how it comes about. Oh yeah, she sends you get turned younger.
Yeah, I did read that. She
puts you back in the carnival.
Yeah.
And basically it's a big cycle.
Yeah, see, I saw that she could do that if you wanted to. If you wanted to be a kid again.
And all the hags go to. This is what the. I'm not going to do this quote word for word, but it says they go to another dimension to hide. That's it.
I mean, that's a good, like.
But what if the players want to go kill them?
No, that's the thing. Then they have to go, like, find clues for them to
go back to the shadow.
There's no information on the.
That's where the homebrew comes in.
I want it to come to.
I know. It would be good.
I think it's.
I mean, the same thing happened with Around the Frostmaiden. If you do this weird convoluted thing where you hit the obelisk with the power, you go back. You go back in time.
Yeah.
But so is Zybilna Tasha? Because it has a stat block for a Gwylv, which is Tasha.
I think it would, yeah.
So is it Gwylv Zybilna, or is Zybilna just a whole different?
Igwil was posing as Zybilna. She is Igwil.
Okay, so all your warlock stuff is just coming from Tasha.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Tasha's a Chad, so I'm glad we actually have a cool stat block. Her stat block's legit, though. I'm glad that, because a Gwylv is Tasha.
Yeah, I mean, here, to give you this context, if you mention her past for some reason, Darshva hair suddenly turns from white to black, and she appears younger and angrier now than she was a moment ago. You know nothing about her past. She sounds the wars I've won, the enemies I've crushed.
So does she know that she's Tasha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's upset at you.
But is she just living her life here as a Fey queen now, basically, just to try and... Okay, I could respect that.
Just chilling.
She just wants to leave everything. She's done summoning demons. Now she's controlling Fey. I mean, one spectrum to the other.
Yeah, so you're level 8. You can maybe get a wish spell, or if you break her cauldron for some reason, which I don't know why you did.
What would you wish, though?
To go home.
Adventure's over.
To go home, man.
Be young again. If you use the lost things adventure, yeah. The adventure ends here, right where it started. And then you go New Game Plus. And then you do
the violent thing.
And you let your players do it. And you play a more complex version of things where they know some stuff and you bring in the other things.
A lot of work.
Unicorn horns around.
Yeah, right. If you do, like, anything out of here, you can take out the palace, you can take out the carnival. If you have, like, a witch character that's, like, in your campaign, like the BBEG or, like, just a witch, or stat block's ready for it. It's so good. It does have counter spells, but, like, at that level, like, come on. You know you're getting counter spelled.
I mean, what is she, CR20?
She's CR20.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Level 8. Okay.
Not fighting her, but it is weird that they give her a stat block.
Yeah, they didn't give a Thumble Stip, whatever her name was, a stat block.
Well, because you're not gonna fight. She's a transformer.
Yeah, but
I know you won't fight her either.
They gave her plans. They gave her stats.
I think
they
because
want you to use them.
They gave her stats so you could use them for something else, and also it's like Tasha.
Or if the players want to try to fuck her up, she can be like, "No,
boom, yeah."
Thanks.
She's like, how the hell did the hags even do this to her?
She doesn't even get. She doesn't even get any offensive spells. She has like cantrips and stuff, but not.
Can I be even more upset about the coven thing that's in Magic right now? The way they brought it in through this.
Oh, got you.
I was hoping this to make me understand why Magic the Gathering having 3 creatures of different powers creates a coven. And you get abilities based off of that. In this, the coven is just these hags.
Yeah, no, that's what a coven is.
I know, but there's like, I don't understand
in
the
Magic.
mechanic in Magic.
Because in Magic, you need 3 people.
And not a different power. Make it a creature type.
Because the different powers is like for like hags. They're all like, you're not going to have a coven of the same hags that can do the same things.
I know, but I think it's ill represented in.
But it's not. I don't think it's
a number that equates to your.
It's not supposed to tie
strength.
in. They're not supposed to tie in like
Watsy, you suck.
Luckily, this is not a Magic. It's not.
Should be though.
It's not.
Should be hot here. That's our next podcast, the Magic Podcast. Go check it out.
Which brings us to
the final verdict.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, okay.
Ryan, you go first. You made it.
Items are cool. Monsters
are fun.
Monsters are great.
Cool.
If you need just like adventuring parties to go fight against, like in your own world, these are great because it has a good one and a bad one.
I love the Glassworks Night just for the art, whatever it was called. And there's a ton of great monsters that you can use in anything here.
Yeah, the monsters are pretty cool. There's not a lot of them, but pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
All right, you go first.
Sure,
go ahead,
man. So overall, I really like this adventure. I think it's very unique. It reads and also plays quite differently than other modules that have existed for 5th edition. That being said, though, I do think it is very table dependent. I think if your group usually likes punching things or grinding out through dungeons, using battle maps and different miniatures and stuff, I don't think they will enjoy this as much.
You could definitely put combat in there,
of course,
right?
But if they like that as a focus,
I just like that they give options because I'd rather have the options be there for non-combat and use it because a lot of the other adventures it's like, okay, we don't want to fight this thing. Or I go, well, fuck, it said they were supposed to fight it. Now what?
Yeah.
Right. So.
Also, that being said, even for your role player tables, your love exploration and puzzles, still, I would also let them
know there's no combat.
Yeah, let them know that it's, not even there's no combat, it's looked down upon. It has certain,
you get kind of punished.
Yeah, you get punished. It's got problems. There's issues with it.
A lot of the time from what I saw, it's like, oh, you want combat? Fine, we'll give you fucking combat, and they just overwhelm you with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
So what I fast nitty gritty to the point. What I like is that it's unique. There's some cool role play stuff. The play was really sick. It's very quirky. It's whimsical. And I think you would like this if you like the open world, vague goal kind of aspect and kind of choose your own adventure kind of story. I don't think you would enjoy this adventure running it if you like having more of a straightforward, typical D&D adventure. If you want a more typical gritty, dark setting, you only get that with Jan, really. And if you want high level stuff, because it's obviously only levels 1 through 8.
Right.
I was hoping with some Feywild stuff we get some high level Fey stuff, but
none.
Not until we get the Planescape book.
See, and don't think this book is like a Feywild
for 5e book. Now. There's a new one.
There are a lot of, because of this book, a lot of third-party materials on DM's Guild now, so go check it out.
There's so much material if you want to run Feywild. Like, you don't need to wait on an official WotC thing.
No, not at all.
You're rude.
Yeah, what about you, Braxton?
So I think mine's a bit more clear-cut in this aspect. I think if you are a new DM who, and I mean it, you have at least read or run through stuff and aren't freaked out by a shitload of information, if you think you could be confidently going through this and run it, pick it up. Still only a new DM. If you're an experienced DM,
I think
you can pick it up, but you're not gonna get as much value because there's so much that teaches you in this about how to run an adventure. If you're already an expert DM or whatever you would consider it, a person who has something that works for them, this is going to be challenging your ideas a lot, and
you could learn a lot.
You could learn a lot.
It's a good refresher, I would think.
But to that extent, you don't need it.
Could challenge
I think
yourself.
this could be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably 10 session adventure.
Yeah.
Because 1 for Witchlight, 2 for each, like Jan and Wither, and then however much for the Palace.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
And that's like 8 levels and 10 sessions. That is quick.
Definitely shorter.
Which is fine. Like if you're preparing your own campaign, you're like, hey, I need to run like something in a midterm. This is probably.
I mean, it is besides the Tyranny of Dragons and Horde of the Dragon Queen the shortest leveled adventure.
And I think just because how the level structure is, like you level up when you go into Wither, Jan, or Thither, and you level up like the first time you experience one of the hags. So that's a lot. You could level up twice in one session.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a must buy at all. It doesn't offer enough in the way of new mechanics, new stat blocks, new monsters, new items for it to feel necessary. I think it sets a good foundation for new DMs. But throw that all out of the window if you're in theater and you've got a lot of people that want to play D&D.
See, if you have a group like mine, I have 2 groups. I run 2 games. I have a 6-person group that is big in the RP, and I have a 3-person group that is really big into RP. My 3-person group would love this. They already have characters from the Feywild right now, so they would love like this. I'm excited. I'm probably going to run this after I'm running 2 of Annihilation for them and tell you how it goes, because they love like improv. They love whose line. They just love all that kind of shit. I think this is, like I said again, I think this is one of the best adventures, like well written and like plotted.
I do agree, it's pretty well written, except for the transitions that Ryan pointed out.
Yeah, like the through line is kind of weak, but I feel like that's a constant for a lot of the WotC adventures. That could just be me being jaded about WotC adventures, but I think this is one of the best ones.
See that when they made the Ravenloft book, Chris Perkins was like, what would be cool if we had these domains of dread, but in the Feywild? And they made like 3 cool ones. We're like, how can we push these into one adventure?
Oh, and
that's what this
if you're talking about through lines, wanting a through line, don't even look at Out of the Abyss. Out of the Abyss is so just get to the surface.
Thematic. The Abyss shouldn't.
It's not in the Abyss.
It's not. It's underdog.
It's in
What the hell?
But this is definitely like for me a very well done adventure. If you want something different, that's like totally like different out of the box from other WotC products. That being said, it is a little bit challenging to run if you aren't that comfortable at improv or aren't that comfortable getting your players from A to B or B to C or A to C. Just getting your players to go to a certain point if you're not that comfortable with it. Maybe work that muscle a little bit in your brain and then come back to this. Because I think this is worth checking out. Even if you're an experienced DM, I feel like you always need a refresher.
It's worth a read.
Yeah, it is worth a read. It's needing a refresher is always good. So I think it's just below Christmas Shard. And Christmas Shard is my favorite. So.
But if you're a little strapped for cash, I would say pick up Fizzband coming out next month.
Mind Flare Dragon.
I'm already excited for it.
Mind Flare Dragon is a callback that used to already exist. It was in 3.5 or 4E.
I'm very excited for this one.
Honestly, and for Fizzbands, I don't think there was any new creature to D&D.
I don't give a shit. There's not enough creatures to fight anyway.
I mean, we don't know yet. It ain't out. Tune in next month.
3 months of D&D books, man.
Yeah, better ask off for the next every other 2 weeks.
Also, I feel like we'd be remiss. We probably should have opened the podcast with the big news. 5.5E edition 2024.
Caveat. This is exactly what I have been wishing for, like specifically the format that they're doing it. It's less of
to be fair, we also don't know
what it is.
Well, no, they mentioned what it's going to be.
Yeah, well, from what they say now.
He didn't say new edition. He said we'd have a new, like a new iteration.
It is a backwards compatible
Yes.
update to 5e.
Yeah.
It's a new evolution.
Evolution, that's the word.
It is not something that's going to say that will never reference the player's handbook or old 5e editions. It will conglomerate everything.
I hate that wording, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited.
I'm excited to see how their idea from it now to when it actually releases in.
Like, are they just going to release a big player's handbook of all the other material, or are they going to actually change the old classes that fit with the new?
I hope so.
Well, okay.
We'll find out in 3 years.
They released Rabbit Folk that at will, or it might be a bonus action. As a bonus action, can decide to make a save again on a dex saving throw. I think is what it is.
Oh no, that's a free thing. They can just add a D4 to their dex save,
which is basically guidance, but like
they can bonus action just jump out of the way. So it is better than
guidance on saving throw.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
It's better than guidance because you have to know a saving throw is coming.
Versus I will play Variant Human.
The Rabbit Folk are very good.
Yes.
Yeah. They fixed the jumping thing. It makes sense.
It's just a bonus action. You can use that as much as your proficiency bonus.
But it's very much like that power creep. And the old stuff is just like, it was good for getting people into, but now that so many people...
Are they going to change the Ranger? Who knows?
Yes.
I went into the Warlock when they let the surveys out. I didn't have much time to type it. I was like, Warlock sucks for these reasons. Fix it.
They did mention they're looking over they're using the hell out of those surveys.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, I think they're still open. You haven't. Oh, I don't know. You go check it out on their website. Hopefully they haven't, so you can go inform them of what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right, so they can fix it for 2024.
Also, there's a new book coming out next year, I think.
Fitzman's Treasury of Dragons.
Treasury of Dragons.
And Strixhaven.
In the same vein as that, Mordenkainen's Marvelous Monsters of the Universe or something.
Yes.
It's like 250 monsters.
An update to the monsters. Yeah.
Is it an update to the monsters, or is it like just a new monster
monsters.
book?
That and new monsters updates.
I'm there for it.
I'm there for it.
Watch it just
Next
be
year?
Monster Manual Volos and Mordenkainen just put together. That's a waste of money for me, but I'll probably still buy it.
So don't freak out too much about new edition. All of my, like Kenneth said, things that I'm backing on Patreon and Kickstarters. You can still use them, and it should still work mechanically.
And
3 years is a
then
long time.
It is.
we'll get another version of Pathfinder that shoots off of 5.5e.
Oh no, because people I don't like the 5.5.
Yeah, Pathfinder crew, I'm interested to see what you guys will respond
They'll
to.
probably take a lot of stuff from Pathfinder's 2e, honestly. My wish is that they add more they add more creativity to your characters, so you can have these certain type of weapons that actually do stuff.
That's exactly what I'm thinking it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to change mechanics or whatever, but they're just going to buff things, make everything feel better, add new stuff in. But I will say, if you enjoyed this episode and whatnot, you can join us on social media, see what we post, see what we do. Let us know if you enjoyed our new setup right now, or if you're like an audio engineer.
It's still a little scuffed.
It's still a little scuffed, but you know what? Look at this pretty plain white wall. I do have.
You guys talk about me.
No, he is gorgeous.
This pretty plain white guy.
He's your son.
That's what he was going to say.
Holy
Accurate,
shit!
accurate.
It is times 3. But
We are a podcast.
We are a
Nice.
podcast. Yeah. That's what you call a group of
3 white males.
3 white males. It's a podcast. But I don't know. Jump in, join in, tell us how things are going.
Leave in the comments how much you fucking hate me.
Social media.
To kick me off the...
Social media at Dungeon Crawl Pod for Twitter and Instagram. Instagram we don't use as much. Twitter, I have learned recently how to use it more so I'm interacting and talking with our people
Instagram, you say.
in the world. Oh hey, I get my sweaty.
If you want to see that picture, go like it on Instagram.
Yeah,
awful picture, so
at
you
Dungeon Crawl
should.
Pod. If you want to send us an email, thedungeoncrawlpod@gmail.com. And even more excitingly, if you want to jump into the Discord where we run various different sorts of games and whatnot. I just played in one of our good friends, I would say friend now, and I'm afraid of parasocial relationships. We've been hanging in the Discord. He runs games for us. I played a Zelda-based 5e that we've been going right now. One of the best sessions I've ever had.
Wow.
So much fun. Well, I've complimented. I said one of the best. The other ones of this.
What about mine, man? From 4 years ago.
Hey, let's take it easy, guys.
It's in the description. The other thing that's also in the description we mentioned earlier is that we do have a Patreon. If you feel like helping us make this a little less scuff, all the money is going to be going to make this a bit better and buying things for us to review. So definitely jump in there for everybody who's Dungeon Crawler and above tier, rolling across the screen at the moment. Thank you so much for joining in, especially Squid. Thanks for hanging out. I've seen you live in the Discord on occasion here. Hope you're doing okay.
We love Squid. We are Squid stands.
We stand Squid.
We love Squid. Squid's the best.
Not a big fan of calamari though.
Squid Game. Splatoon 3.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the show on Netflix called Squid
I haven't
Games.
seen it. Literally everybody's talking about it.
I haven't seen it. My boss was talking about it at work today.
Have you heard of it?
Squid, nice games, man.
Good games.
Haven't even heard of it.
GG's.
Finally, before we close out, I always do a little fun story time here at the end, folks.
Let me get my coffee.
Buckle in, everybody.
Go,
This one's a
let's
doozy.
Nice sound effect, man.
So on the way here, I love telling these stories. On the way here, Braxton noticed that I need an extra chair.
Yeah.
This chair here. So I had to run all the way back home. 5-minute walk, 5-minute run.
Oh, you didn't take your car?
No.
When was this his place? Sorry, environment. I would literally drive my car for like 0.5
Well, I drove
seconds.
here first because I had a lot of equipment.
Okay.
And then I ran back. So I don't need to hop in the car. I don't need to waste gas for,
Get
just
some
run.
exercise.
Exactly. You stretch those legs. Well, it is nighttime. It's dark. It's a little spooky outside. On the way there, the same spot where Braxton, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where you saw there was a corn underneath.
Is it gone?
In its place was a
Full of
creepy.
corn.
No, I wish. It would have been better. It was a creepy old lady and she had warts all over her nose.
You're not. Are you kidding?
And
I
she-
fucking hate it. I might like this.
And she leaned down close
I
to
genuinely
me.
do.
I hate you.
Come to me, my pretty. And I was like,
you?
sure, yeah. I was like,
Right,
she said I'm pretty. Okay.
Oh, that's fair.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Right? Say no.
Yeah, so I walked over. I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess who else could she be talking to, right? So I walked over and we had a nice chat. She did say she ate the corn. She liked it.
I'm
She
gonna look
boiled,
for it next
she
time.
boiled it
You
first.
better move it.
Boiled corn. Disgusting.
She's a hag, man. I didn't know she was a hag at first. The reason I knew she was a hag is because I said, hey, I gotta grab a chair, I gotta hurry up. And she said, let me help you get back a little quicker for the price. And the price was
Your soul.
to rate
Apple Podcasts, Dungeon Crawl, 5 stars on iTunes. Apple Podcasts, iTunes,
same thing. And when I did this, same thing. And when I did this, she actually opened up a little portal, popped in right outside your door, and I let myself in.
Damn.
I think Ryan just cursed everyone listening here and watching to do the same thing.
Possibly.
Your car might not start tomorrow because of it.
I did not mention that part of the story because it might have been part of the bargain, might not
the
have
same
been.
same lady that was throwing debris in front of the railroad tracks.
It could have been, yeah.
What?
Some random person from a stoplight. We've got railroad tracks. Here's my.
I don't think you talked to a hag. I think you talked to a homeless lady that just has magic.
To be fair, I have worked at the psychiatric hospital that is not too far from here. It could be one of their patients.
Okay.
Could be.
Fun.
But that's the dungeon crawl. Thank
He's
you,
been Ryan.
Eastman Braxton. Thank you for crawling.
I've been kidding. I guess again.
And he's always Kenan.
He's always.
He's always Kenan. Thank you for joining us today, Kenan.
Colin.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for inviting me, man.
Appreciate you driving all the way here, and you'll be back tomorrow. But for you guys, it'll be tonight. We'll be live.
For everybody, it will be tonight that is watching this on the day that it comes out.
Yes, we will be live
For us, it'll be
with
tomorrow.
the Dungeon Chronicles session 15, I think, maybe 16, something
Episode
like
29.
that. And it's gonna be popping. It's gonna be sick because we're gonna be back in person. It's gonna be fun. We'll be riffing off each other. So if you're interested to see what that's like, follow the link down below.
For their sanity, I will. Cyberpunk audio.
Come see Salty just destroy every one of Braxton's encounters.
Oh god, not anymore. You left the last ones. We'll see how it goes. Hope you go back.
Buckle up, Samurai.
I will turn the AC on for that one there because it gets too hot.
We're headed out.
Deuces.
Bye, y'all.